morning, everybody. So first and foremost, thanks for getting up, coming here to attend this workshop with us today. For those present in the room, but also we're actually streaming this today. For those dialing in, welcome. And before we start, a very quick acknowledgement of country. So I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we present today, and pay my respects to elders, past, present, and emerging. Now, my name is Marie. Actually, sorry, I should be flicking the slides. One job, Marie, one job. My name is Marie. I've been at eBay for 11 years. I'm the head of seller and managed marketplace, which means my world is anything seller, as well as kind of the ops functions that underlie and govern the marketplace, such as shipping and trust. I've been working there for a while, but I've also just double-checked last night. I've been selling and buying on eBay since 2003. So some of you might notice I've got an accent, so I had to log into my German account. So a couple of years in Germany, rest in Australia. For those, most of you probably know, we're celebrating 25 years in Australia at the moment. So eBay has been here for a long time. 25 years of bringing people together, of connecting buyers and sellers globally to create economic opportunity for all. And that has always been with community at its core. And events like today are very much there to foster that community, to nurture it, and to give a little bit back. So I hope you get some learnings out of it, but I also hope you take this time, so there's time afterwards to stick around, chat with us, chat to each other, and make some connections. So yeah, with that, I have a couple of housekeeping rules to take you through. Sorry. Toilets, out to the left. First ladies, gents a little bit further. Emergency exits, out, straight out, just, run through the door in case you hear an alarm bell go off. Very unlikely. Really important, coffee cart is going to be there all morning. So even if you have not had a chance to grab a coffee yet, you will be able to do so. You can go in for seconds or thirds, so don't stress. And we've got a really, really packed agenda today. So just introducing the speakers to you. We've got Kyle. He will talk about all things tools to grow your brand on eBay. We have Keisha, who is having a fireside chat with some of our sellers, talking about their experiences of selling online, wins, challenges, and everything in between. We have Taos from the advertising team on how to boost your visibility and your conversion on the platform. And last and certainly not least, a bit of a crowd favorite, we've got Mitch and Paul from Google on all things search, evolution, and feed optimization. So, without further ado, please welcome Kyle to the stage.
Ooh, this isn't on. Thank you very much, Marie.
Sorry, I forgot one really, really important thing. We wanted to get an idea of the crowd in this room. So if you guys don't mind, and if you are able to, could you please all get up for a second? Now, as mentioned, we have 25 years, so traditionally there's always some real expertise in this room. So if you have joined eBay 2020 or after, so the COVID years or thereafter, please sit down now, and thank you. Now, okay, but almost everybody's standing. Right, 10 years on eBay. So if you joined eBay 2015, 16, 17, 18 and beyond, please sit down now. Still standing. All right, if you joined eBay 2010, 11, 12, 14, please sit down. Okay, right, so we're getting into the 20 years on eBay. So 2005, 6, 7, 8, 9, still standing. Wow, all right. This is way more expertise than I expected. So I did bring some umbrellas. Now I'm worried that I won't have enough for all this tenure in the room. But that's fine. So come and see me afterwards. Got some nice ones. And so who has 21 years? 22 years. 23 years. Wow. 24 years. Okay. Wow. So you two the last one standing.
Jason's over here as well.
And I kind of knew about Jason. Do you count, Jason? Welcome. No, but please come back. Please come back. Please come back. It's one of the reasons why he's speaking later. He's got a lot of wisdom to share. But the important thing is, with that much tenure in the room, I do appreciate you really do know how this site works, but there's always new features coming, tools evolving, and that is really, really, really important because we need to change and evolve our site in order to stay relevant, in order to stay competitive, in order to continue bringing buyers onto the site and helping you reach those buyers. So even if you've been on the platform for as long as you all have, I hope you're getting some goodness out of this today, as there are some things that may have changed a little bit, some a bit more, and some stay the same. So with that, Kyle.
Got this. Thank you. Thank you, Marie. Let's hope I'm a little bit, I'm better with the clicker than Marie is. Sorry, I'm going to have to jump forward a few slides, guys. Apologies. All right, today I'm going to be talking to you about building your brand on eBay. So before I introduce myself, I would like to start with a question to the audience. So who here wants to make more money selling on eBay? Great. At eBay, so we want that as well for yourself. It's no secret that at eBay, we're not successful unless our sellers are. That's why our purpose at eBay is to fuel our sellers' success. We don't compete with our sellers, we partner with them. So whether it's a small business in rural Australia, who wants to sell overseas, or a Main Street shop in Brisbane, wanting to expand their online sales, we empower small businesses around the world with our tools, support, and outreach to build their brands and fit their unique personalities and inventory. Now to introduce myself. I'm Kyle Shewan and I work in the seller management team at eBay Australia, which essentially means I advise sellers on tips and tricks to selling on eBay. Before running through today's agenda, I want to share my goal and purpose for today. I would love to take away as many useful nuggets. I would love for you to take away as many useful nuggets of information that you can proactively use and go back and implement into your eBay business. Now, I've personally seen new and existing businesses implement these changes, which have either kickstarted their eBay sales or regenerated any stagnant growth. So now let's lift the hood and dive into today's agenda. Part one of the presentation, I'm going to be taking you through why building and optimizing your listings is so important for your brand on eBay. Your listings are the key to your success on eBay, and I'll be sharing my golden rules for listing optimization. We'll look then at building your brand on eBay. So first of all, we're going to look at what are the benefits to having an eBay store. And then we'll be looking at, we'll be looking at what are the benefits to having an eBay store, why do you need an eBay store, and then we'll finish on how to brand your eBay store. Once we've ticked off building stronger listings and branding your eBay store, let's examine how eBay's marketing tools will help you drive more velocity to your eBay store. Finally, if time permits, we'll cross to you, the audience, for a live Q&A. So before we start, let me remind you why selling on eBay is so important for your online sales strategy. Now, I know that there's a lot of stats on this particular page, but I would like everyone in the audience to focus on one stat in particular. Apart from having 134 million active buyers worldwide and 40 million monthly online visits, eBay is a great platform to kickstart your marketplace selling journey. Why is that? Well, on average, new eBay businesses will make $50,000 in their first year selling on eBay. How good does that sound? Now, also, another fun fact. By the time I finish speaking today, 30 dresses and 15 shirts would have sold on eBay. Now, let's get into the thick of it with listing optimization. Building your brand on eBay all begins with optimizing your product listings. Your eBay listings are the cornerstone to how buyers find your products, your brand, and also your eBay store. One question that I'm often asked by sellers is, how do I get my listings to sit higher in search? Quite simple, actually. Improve your listings. So listing optimization is the key and will play a pivotal role in influencing eBay's best match algorithm, best match search algorithm. So today I'm going to share with you my golden rules to help you achieve greater success. And what do these golden rules look like? We'll be carefully breaking down the key components of an optimized eBay listing. So we'll look at item titles to start with. We'll look at images and videos and the importance of using them. Item specifics and why structured data is important for your listings. Why product templates are important for your branding on eBay as well. And then we'll look at implementing the basic retail standards and also ensuring that you're taking use of our eBay Seller Hub analytics tools. Oh, sorry, let me go back. Yeah, I'm a bit jumpy at the moment, Marie. Give me a sec. Sorry, this is actually really, really sensitive. Okay, now let's break down what a successful listing looks like. Start with item titles. Off the bat, if I could tell you that by adding 65 characters or more to your item titles, your product is 1.5 times more likely to sell on eBay. But why is it so important to add more than 65 characters? Well, it enhances searchability, and it allows you to weave in keywords, brand names, model numbers, and item variants, which will help catch the attention of potential buyers and encourage stronger click-through and sales. Now, let's look at my 5 tips to optimizing your product titles. Like I said before, use at least 65 characters. 80 is better, and that's the maximum. Take advantage of the full character limit to incorporate any essential keywords, brand names, and item specifics. Include relevant keywords. So what I mean by that is insert terms that are frequently searched, particularly in the first 4 words of the title. Avoid any technical language, which would mean you just use straightforward language. Why? Because this approach ensures that your item title is understanding and appealing to the broader audience as well. Avoid any special characters, so don't include unnecessary words like cheap or sale. These detract from the professional appearance of the product title. And follow a structured format. So adopt a structured format like I've suggested below, which this ensures that your product title covers all those necessary details. So looking at the brand name, the product number, model number, variants, size, color, etc., and then any keywords. So let's move on now to my rule number 2, which is images. So by adding 2 or more images to your product listing, you will boost your conversion rate by 5%. It sounds super easy, but to put it simply, adding more good quality images to your listings will increase your chances of you selling that particular product. Put yourself in the buyer's shoes here. Provide them as much information as you can through your images and your videos as you would like to see, or if that was you making that particular purchase. Now, I know we have some sellers in the room that are selling who are selling in the pre-loved and refurbished categories. Images and videos are a great way to show potential buyers of any blemishes or imperfections that the product may have. So here's my 4 tips on how a good product image should look. Multiple images and use multiple images and different angles. You have up to 24 at your disposal. This ensures image accuracy and also shows credibility with your buyers. Use plain white backgrounds. So Google will speak about this a little bit later, but this highlights the product and increases visibility in off-site search engines such as Google. My recommendation as well is to avoid any overlapping watermarks, text or borders, as it detracts from the product, and as I mentioned before, it will not surface in off-site search engines. Ensure consistency across your images. So what I mean by this is ensure that your images are accurately represented and that the images remain consistent across all your listings. This helps build trust and This helps build trust and credibility to your buyers. Ensure that you're showing the key features of your products, as this will also help that particular item sell as well. Now, finally, I suggest trying videos on your listings if you have not already. Videos will help provide confidence for the buyer and credibility for the brand and the product. My rule number 3. We're up to rule, yep, perfect. Sorry, again, this is quite touchy. Rule number 3 is item specifics. So ensure that you're providing as much information and data as possible on your listings. So why is it important to fill out item specifics? Sorry, I get asked this quite a lot by different sellers. Why is it so important to fill out item specifics on my listings? It's so time consuming. Well, it's quite simple actually. Our eBay buyers use filters. By entering the item specifics, you're only going to increase the chances of you actually selling that product. Now let's look at the benefits of adding more item-specific data to your listings. So you enhance search visibility. What I mean by this is that obviously item specifics improve a listing's chances of appearing in a filtered search. Like I said before, buyers use search filters. This might be size, color, or length. It connects you with buyers. So accurate item specifics actually help connect you with the right buyer. Help connect your listings to the right buyers. This is done by matching searches that will improve the chances of conversion. It also improves your search ranking. So like I mentioned before, obviously with eBay's best match search algorithm, item specifics are a component of that. Now, I would like to draw, sorry, I'm just going to learn how to use the laser point here. I would like to draw your attention to these two blue arrows here. eBay will actually show you some of the monthly search data from that category's item specifics. So for example, my portable charger listing, which is up here, by viewing this particular data, I can see here that I don't have the features, or the country region filled out here. I'm missing out on 6,500 searches on this particular listing by not adding that data in. Sorry. Now let's look at another live example of why item specifics are so important. So Kyle's portable chargers here. As I mentioned, our buyers are using filters consistently when they're purchasing their products on eBay. So let's say, for example, a buyer's looking for a specific compatible brand. Now, if I don't have that particular data filled out on my listing, my listing is not going to appear when a buyer refines that search there. Moving on to my tip number 4, product templates. Product templates help build your brand on eBay. So sellers will often ask me, is writing a detailed description or a product template a good use of time? Now, in my personal opinion and my recommendation is that a product template is an extension of creating your brand on eBay. eBay buyers will read well-written product descriptions and templates when choosing to make the purchase or not. So here are my tips to ensure that you're providing the best product descriptions and templates. Share your expertise and build trust. So what I mean by this is providing detailed and accurate information in your product description. This helps establish credibility, and buyers are consistently reliant on the information that you're providing here. And it shows trust to your brand as well at the same time. Tell your story of the brand, of the item and the brand. So a well-crafted story around the products will bring further engagement. Explain what's included. So what I mean by this is explain what's included in the product. Add as much product information and details for that particular product as possible. And disclose of any defects. So this might be probably more applicable to those sellers in the room today that are selling in pre-loved categories or refurbished categories. Provide as many defects and provide as much information on those defects that you can on the particular product that you're trying to sell. Actually, sorry, I'm just going to jump back. Now, these particular product templates, I know that these are some of our bigger retailers on the platform, and there is obviously a monetary cost involved in creating a product template. I'm not doubting that one bit whatsoever. But my recommendation, as you can clearly see here, Bosch do a fantastic job when it comes to branding their products throughout this. And when you're purchasing that product, you know who it's coming from as well. So it really helps build that brand and that trust and that credibility. Moving on. So my next tip is taking advantage, get comfortable using our analytics tools in Seller Hub. So the traffic dashboard. This is a really useful tool because obviously it gives you data on impressions, page views, and sales conversions. This allows you to identify which of your listings are performing and also underperforming. This is the perfect tool to guide optimization as well, because it allows you to identify those performing and underperforming listings, but it also allows you to sort of identify any stale listings as well. So what I mean by stale listings is that your listings that are underperforming that have 0 page views or 0 clicks. A strategy that I see a lot of sellers do on the platform, which I'm sure some of the older sellers in the room today can probably contest to this, is that they'll relist that particular listing if it has 0 page views or 0 click-throughs. And this will help give it a boost in search initially as well. The other tool I highly recommend using, and I think it's extremely underrated as well, is product research, also known as Terapeak to a lot of the older sellers in the room today. In my opinion, this is the most undervalued and underused tool by eBay sellers. Terapeak will assist you with offering data on price trends, sales and product sourcing, any opportunities and competitor insights. This tool will allow you to capture market opportunities via your listings and insights, and will help your brand presence across eBay as well. Together, these two tools will help sellers, will equip sellers with the knowledge and help them refine their strategies and expand their brand on eBay. So my next recommendation is to ensure that you're providing the services that you expect when buyers are shopping your brand. So the most successful eBay sellers all prioritize basic retail standards. These are the core components and go a long way improving search, conversion rate, and overall brand success on eBay. Again, I'm going to ask you to think like the consumer here. Put yourself in the consumer's shoes. So offer local pickup or pickup in store options. Why? Because it's a convenience of use, picking up your purchase, and also helps avoid any of those expensive freight options as well for the buyer. For the seller, this is perfect, right? Because you're introducing the buyer to your brand, your store, and there's potential for more purchases as well. Display accurate handling times. Ensure that you're accurately displaying your correct pick and pack times. This helps set buyer expectation when they're purchasing off you. Offer additional postage options. So this might be adding express delivery to your listing, and this also gives the buyer obviously flexibility in terms of what delivery method they would like. What we find is a lot of buyers, and I think at the moment as well, everyone can contest to this, it's almost a race to who can get the product to the buyer the quickest, correct? My next tip is to upload valid tracking. So ensure that you're always providing tracking information to your buyer. Why? Because this enables trust and confidence with the buyer. And finally, where possible, offer 30 to 60-day returns where possible. This obviously provides peace of mind for the buyer as well. Now, apologies, we've had to remove a slide today. There was a video issue. I wanted to show you a video on how eBay has invested in AI and how AI is helping with listing optimization. So unfortunately, this here might not look right, but essentially what we've done is the video optimization pretty much helps sellers that are listing manually on eBay list everything we've spoken about, and it provides all the insights and all the item specifics for that particular product. Super useful. Now, what I'm going to say now is that the AI features don't stop there, right? So with our new listing flow, eBay has also provides calculated recommendations on optimizing any underperforming listings in your and retail standards in the seller hub, in the listings page in the seller hub. So, for example, using the recommendations that I alerted to, using these recommendations, I'm getting, on my portable chargers here, I'm getting recommendations on reducing my handling time. I'm also getting recommendations on attract more buyers to adjust my pricing. So what that's telling me essentially is that my pricing is not competitive enough for that particular category. And then finally, as well, it's making sure that I'm sending offers to my 4 listings that I've got listed at the moment to buyers. So now we've lifted the lid on listing optimization, I want to move on to building your brand on eBay and how this all starts with an eBay storefront and leveraging an eBay storefront. So firstly, what are the benefits to opting into an eBay store? Well, you get a reduced final value fee in comparison to selling without a store subscription. We have a 3-tiered store subscription offering with varied price options. You have the ability to use the eBay marketing tools to drive velocity to your store. You have the ability to market your brand via the eBay store landing page. And as above, you have the ability to personalize your eBay store and tell your own branded story. So you can update your billboard with different images throughout different seasons. You can tell buyers about your brands via your add to your story. And the store also enables a landing destination for buyers to view and search your inventory. Now, stores with personalized branding are likely to be visited more often. These enhancements make it easier for sellers to strengthen their brand presence on eBay. Now, if there are any sellers in the audience today wondering if they had chosen the correct store subscription or if they should move to a higher store subscription, to determine if you have the correct store subscription on eBay, my recommendation is to compare your fixed subscription fee to your annual sales and your seller fees. Assess the current sales volume and adjust that to a higher tiered, compared to a higher tiered offering to ensure that obviously maximum benefit. Now, I'm happy to talk about this afterwards with anyone, so feel free to come and find me anywhere at the mingle afterwards. Here are some examples of some of our bigger retailers on the platform, and they do a fantastic job in terms of encompassing everything we've spoken about with listing optimization, and then encompassing that into their branded eBay store as well, and keeping relevance. So as you can see, these sellers have clearly implemented the listing optimization, like I mentioned, that we spoke about. They've got clean and clear images, providing a sleek look, and they're also adding consistency across their optimized storefront. So moving away now from, we've identified obviously your listings and how to optimize your listings. We're now moving away from that, and we're going to learn how to drive velocity and sales to your eBay store and your eBay listings using our marketing tools. Can I get my listings moving with these tools? Now let's deep dive a few of the seller marketing tools that I'm sure everyone in this room is familiar with. With our marketing tools, you can run sales, promotions, you can leverage our social sharing, you can target and retarget buyers via pre- and post-purchase tools. One of the benefits of this, well, they'll either help give your listings and store more exposure, they will target and retarget buyers, and they'll drive sales. These tools are significantly important cog to building your brand on eBay. Okay, I know what everyone's thinking, more stats. I personally love stats. Why? Because stats don't lie. So these statistics reinforce why marketing tools are a crucial part and play a pivotal role in the eBay ecosystem. So 75% of buyers online are looking for discounts and special offers when shopping. This speaks to how price sensitive consumers may be. Use our analytics tools to improve your marketing and your pricing. Sellers using our eBay marketing tools have seen sales growth of 11% on average by using these tools. Again, this is why, and this speaks volumes to as why our marketing tools are so important and help drive traffic and growth to your eBay store and listings. As I mentioned in the previous slide, 75% of buyers online are looking for discounts. So now let's check out your promotions toolkit and take advantage of those buyers. Let's quickly view what the 4 promotional tools are, and we can deep dive these individually. So coded coupons. Coded coupons convert new buyers and tempt repeat purchases with a discount code. Sales events. Sales events, in my opinion, probably one of the best promotional tools that we have. It displays a discount price to buyers via a strike-through for a limited time only. Order discounts, ability to cross-sell products by offering a discount on the total order size. This is your classic spend and save. Volume pricing. Volume pricing encourages multiple purchases of a single item based on the discounted volumes. So let's start with why coded coupons are so beneficial. Well, coded coupons is one of our most high-performing seller marketing tool due to its high on-site visibility. The red text really stands out in 2 particular places, the view item page and the search results page. You can see how easily distinguished this tool is in allowing buyers to easily identify that you have a sale or you have an offer on your product. Sellers can also discount this on their own terms. So you have complete autonomy and control over this particular tool in terms of setting which inventory and discounts that you want to set for that particular product. Or you also have the option to set this store-wide. Now, I just want to quickly throw out one quick note. Coded coupons can be stacked on top of any eBay-funded promo. So ensure that you're not double discounting, because obviously if you're running what I'll talk about next, if you're running a sale, an event, and a coded coupon, obviously that can be stacked. So sales events, why is this tool so important? And I was harping on about it before, but this tool enables you to call out the was and now price. So it's particularly strong in the search results page and the view item page, because it's letting consumers know that you actually have the product on special and showing that discount as well. In my opinion, this tool is a perfect way for clearing inventory and increasing buyer engagement. Moving on now, we're going to move on to order discounts. Like I mentioned before, this is your classic spend and save. This tool promotes upselling and cross-selling, with the functionality of increasing the overall order value due to the additional items being purchased. So order discounts, they enhance sales by directly increasing the overall value without the buyer required to input any codes. Order discounts also offer visibility and are automatically applied at checkout. Lastly, order discounts can be stacked with any other promotion to encourage larger purchases as well. Again, in my opinion, I think this tool here works particularly extremely well and most effectively in categories such as home and garden, sporting and fashion. Now, similar to order discounts, volume pricing is tiered towards selling individual SKUs in bulk. In my opinion, this is fantastic for consumable and disposable goods. So our volume pricing tool enables and encourages larger purchases for buyers. Sellers can customize promotional ranges and encourage larger basket sizes. Sorry, let me go back as well. This particular tool also will give you a competitive edge against your competitors. Why? Because it's showing buyers that value for money in your listing as well. Okay, now we've ran through the 4 different promotional tools. Let's start to communicate that end of financial year promotion that you've just set up for your buyers. eBay newsletters is one of the most powerful tools when it comes to driving sales and building stronger brand awareness and recognition. The newsletters tool enables you to directly communicate with customers and drive more traffic to your store and your listings. Newsletters also enable you to target specific customers, such as those who have recently just purchased from your store, and the customization increases engagement and encourages actions that will drive sales directly via the newsletter. So here are my tips to optimizing your newsletter. Target specific groups. What I mean by this is use specific templates to address specific buyer groups. This will boost relevance and engagement. Implement automated welcome emails as well. So anyone that's recently purchased from your store, every 3 months, implement an automated email that gets sent out, new products, new listings, or whatever that may be. Ensure that you're promoting key events. So schedule newsletters around key events. If you're running an end of financial year sale, you're running a Black Friday sale, ensure that you're promoting those newsletters around those particular events as well. And also ensure that you're doing it at the right time frame as well. No one wants to receive an email halfway through a promo or a week before a promo. Ensure it's the day of the promo as well. Lastly, track performance. So monitor the engagement on these. How can you do that? You look at obviously the open rates, the click-through. This will enable you to redefine your strategy as well on eBay. So, if it didn't work, try a different. It's very trial and error to start with. Okay. Apart from using newsletters to target buyers, our buyer tool group enables you. Buyer group tool enables you to target specific buyers, followers, and subscribers with coupons. I personally think of the eBay Buyer Groups tool as the foundation to starting your own loyalty program with buyers on eBay. Okay, so this particular tool here will give you more control on who receives offers, and it's significantly more personalized than eBay newsletters. My top tips here for getting the most out of the buyer groups is target seasonal and repeat buyers. So this can be split into different categories, and this helps create seasonal codes or different discounts on certain product lines. This also builds loyalty. Offer private discounts. So provide discounts to buyers without lowering the general price of your item. This fosters a sense of exclusivity for the buyer and incentivizes repeat purchases. Ensure that you also have enabled automated coupons or offers for new buyers as well. I want to call out that you can also target repeat buyers now in the order page. So the repeat buyer module enables you to identify and repeat any repeat customer and repeated customers quicker. You now have the ability to target them with exclusive offers and coupons via the order page. In my opinion now, while both buyer groups and newsletters are useful tools for promoting your brand and promoting brand awareness and driving sales to your eBay store, buyer groups is a more personalized and targeted gives a more targeted and personalized promotional opportunity, whereas newsletters engage broader engagement or encourage broader engagement. My next tip is to start sharing your listings on socials. So social sharing on eBay allows you to reach a wider audience through a platform such as Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Sharing your eBay listings on social media is a strategic way to leverage social influence. This allows you to promote your eBay store effectively, ultimately enhancing sales and broadcasting your brand. So when you share your listings on social, obviously it increases the reach and the visibility. So social sharing allows sellers to reach a broader audience beyond eBay. This will potentially create and attract new eBay customers who are not regular eBay shoppers. It improves engagement. So Engaging with followers on socials can build a strong community around your particular store and your brands and products. And this will foster repeat business and positive word of mouth as well. And it engages specific demographics. So what I mean by this is social media, sellers can use social media, obviously, platforms to target specific demographics, ensuring that the listings are seen by more buyers. Now, lastly, I want to finish with my final tip, customer service. Customer service is the cornerstone of your eBay success, and this is something that you have complete ownership of. Good customer service boosts retention and builds your brand's reputation as well. So my rules to ensuring that you're providing the correct customer service. Avoid cancelling orders for being out of stock. Integrate any inventory management you have and ensure that it's seeked across all different sales channels as frequently as possible. Respond to any buys as quickly as possible using the FAQs or the pre-sale questions. We also now have an AI suggestions in M2M. This shall help. Encourage positive feedback and reply to any negative feedback. Why? Obviously, this shows potential buyers as well that you're facing your problems. This shows other buyers that they can see you're responsive even in the face of any issues. Action any of your cases and refund requests within 3 business days to avoid receiving any defects. And finally, ship all your orders on time to avoid any late shipment defects. As a buyer, no one wants to wait longer than they have to for their product or purchase. Now, I hope everyone's enjoyed today's presentation on building your brand and have found some useful nuggets of information that they can implement to their business. Do we have time for any questions? Yes, at the back.
Hi, my name is Ben.
Yep.
I'm an eBay user and also an eBay seller as well.
Yep.
I just got 2 questions, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Keisha.
Can anyone hear me? Yeah, my name is Ben. I'm an eBay buyer and also eBay seller as well. Got 2 tiny questions, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
The first one is, on your slide, I can say, the quality of the image. I mean, the product image. You said it's wide image is preferred by eBay. But on the slides, I can say some other examples, like, on the product image, they have the Australian Post Office mark on it. Is that allowed by eBay?
Not encouraged. Depending on policy, I'd have to refresh myself on policy. We definitely do have someone at the eBay stand. I'll double check on that in terms of if it's actually allowed. But it's not going to... You can take this one? Okay. What I'm going to say, though, quickly, is before you jump in, is that it will affect where you sit in Google. So if you've got a wide image with any text or watermarks overlapping, it's not going to... your product image isn't going to surface in that Google Shopping module. And the Google guys will run through that later on as well. To the other point, Marie, if you want to take in on...
So I love this question because images I'm very passionate about. It's actually against our policy, but you would have noticed we haven't enforced it. And sellers do love to put all things of information onto the image. That may help you on eBay, which we don't think it does. So, some sellers are going to do it does, but it will absolutely stop us from promoting any of your products outside of eBay. We spend a lot of money on marketing tools, particularly SEO optimization, to get products out there. And if there's watermarks, the Google guys will speak to this later, we can't use it. So please don't. There's other elements in your listing, in item specifics, that let you point out all of those things that people think they have to put on an image, like AU stock, we show item location. Carrier, we show who the carrier is. Don't overlay your image. Keep it clean and let us, use it to take it outside of eBay and promote it further.
I think just to jump in there as well, Marie, you sort of spoke a little bit about postage, right? Like you had the Australia Post label or stamp or whatever it may be. You can use your product template for that as well. There's obviously a shipping aspect where you can add in any shipping information as well in the product template. So yeah, you can utilize that there as well, just to add to that.
Appreciate that.
Yep.
Another question is about the listing. The number of the listing. On your slides, I can see there was some example of the example user with 8,500 active listing. So does that mean eBay encourage the sellers add more and more listing on eBay to boost their sales?
Sorry, I didn't quite hear that. Could you repeat that?
Sorry, what I'm saying was,
Yeah.
on your slides, there was one example of the demo account with 8,500 active listing. I just observed that on your slides.
Yep.
Does that mean, as a seller, we should put more and more, active listing on the eBay?
Yeah, good question. Great question. One of the most successful sellers I've seen on eBay had 11 listings. So I don't think it necessarily, I want more of your inventory. Yes, 100%. I think it's a great way to drive sales for your store and grow your store. But one of the most successful sellers I've seen had 11 listings. They did everything. They did the basics right. They probably should have looked at obviously branching out and finding more inventory because they're obviously really good eBay sellers. But yeah, can you add any more to that, Marie, or does anyone?
100%. Again, I love this stuff. This is my trust hat. So do not duplicate your listings. We actually take those down. So it's not the more the merrier. It's you make the best out of your one listing and you optimize that. There's no need to list the same item in multiple ways.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to ask, we sell a lot of listings that have variants.
Yep.
So we have some that are listed as a variant, but it's not as simple as, say, a T-shirt with small, medium, large. It's more a style of product. So say it's like a drill, for example.
Yeah, yep.
Would you say that eBay prefers to have separate listings or one listing with variants?
I think from a buyer's perspective, I would prefer to have obviously one listing with variants. With best match and the search algorithm, I do not have a definitive answer of what's better. Do you have anything on that, Marie?
One listing with variants? Yeah, because I know a lot of...
Sorry to cut you off there. I think it's a cleaner experience. If buyers are landing on your storefront and searching your products, I think it's a much cleaner experience. It directs them to one particular product and they can choose which option they want. So if it's a drill bit, for example, can't say I'm fully adverse with drills and whatnot, but if it's a drill bit, they know what they're shopping for, and they can use that filter to find that.
Okay, cool. It's just some, or especially the older sellers in the room can probably attest to that some sellers flood eBay.
Yep.
That's their strategy by having like the other gentleman said, 8,500 listings where. That could drop to 4,000 listings if we merge them to be variant listings.
Yep.
But moving forward, is eBay's strategy to make that more like a website, more like a clean e-commerce store that has it all listed with clean variants opposed to more listings?
Yeah, look, I think it's buyer experience, right? Like I sort of touched on before. I think it depending on buyer experience, I know that, and we know that obviously buyers will drop down and like they use the search filters for item specifics. I think it shows more relevance, in my opinion. But I'm happy to have a chat with you a bit about that a bit later on if you would like as well. So
that'd be awesome.
Let's have a chat at the lunch afterwards.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
In terms of questions, I know we're on a bit of a tight schedule, so I do apologise. If we have any additional questions, let's have a chat afterwards. We've got the whole eBay team here. But if we don't catch up afterwards, let's definitely come to the eBay stand throughout the conference. And I'm more than happy to have a chat with anyone. Thank you. Appreciate that again. Do we have I think next up we have Keisha coming up with the Fireside chat and some of our eBay sellers.
Can anyone hear me?
Thank you.
Is this mic on? Hello. So while we get up to the stage, if anyone wants to stretch their legs, stand up, get some water, please feel free. We'll get started in just a minute. Ooh,
that was me.
Come on up. Yep. And I'll make sure these are on.
Okay, well, Kyle covered pretty much everything we're going to talk about, so we're just going to sing songs from Frozen for half an hour instead.
1, 2. All right. Okay. Hi. Oh, you know what? Where's that clicker? Make sure I have that for us. Kyle, do you have that clicker? I'll grab that from you. Thanks very much.
I've been hogging it.
You're completely fine. Hopefully everyone got that QR code with the seller growth guide. If not, we can share it again later. Welcome to our fireside chat. We don't actually have a fire, but we will have a chat. I'm Keisha Carducci. I've been at eBay for nearly 8 years, and I look after our seller management teams, acquisition and scaling. And I'm really thrilled to be joined today with some fantastic eBay sellers, just like yourselves, who've been selling on eBay for a while, and will share some really great insights and tips based on their own selling experiences. So I'll introduce them. Jason Ramage probably needs no introduction. Jason of Collector's Code has been with us since the very beginning. We're happy to have him here, and many of you probably know him as well as one of the admins on the eBay Sellers Australia Facebook group. Thank you for joining us today.
Pleasure.
We have Brad and Jazz, who have built a really impressive reselling business on eBay, and they also have a YouTube presence, Two Aussie Thrifters. If you haven't checked them out, highly recommend. And then we have Deo Redivo, who sells new and used motorcycle parts on eBay. He's also been selling for a very long time on eBay, and he has a consultancy business as well, helping sellers like you grow and scale their businesses on eBay. So thank you guys again so much for joining us. We'll get right into it. So I want to kick off to just understand what inspired you guys to start your eBay businesses. Why don't you get us started, Jason?
Basically to start it, or actually I'm glad I'm the first to be honest with you because it's a pretty common thread within the room, I think. I'm a deep introvert, or I was severely back then, so the communication skills and the aspect of speaking to people in person was quite challenging for me. So the eBay platform provided an opportunity to both monetize an interest I had and also an opportunity I had. So it was a combination of two things for me. I was in the telecommunications field, regularly got actually, anybody in telco? Sorry, I can't see you, so I'm just going to say it anyway. I was in telco, and we got a lot of products given to us as samples and trials and whatnot. So we had mobile phones that were worth an absolute packet that we could just offload, and eBay was the easiest offload process. So that was sort of the start for me, which then migrated into the collector's aspects maybe 20, 22 years ago, where I was doing trading cards and importing things from the USA, which is the current iteration of where I'm at. So introversion and making money.
There you go. What about you, Brad?
For us, it was completely my fault we got into this crazy journey. I was a collector of video games, showing off my nerd side a little bit there, and I was just buying a lot of video games to fund my collection, and I just had lots of leftovers, and I didn't really know what to do with it, so I started looking around, and I found eBay and a couple people selling online, and from there it snowballed into where we are now. So yeah, it was my things that started it.
It was all your fault, and it definitely has snowballed. I think that was 8.5 years ago.
Wow.
And started off very, very casually, but now it is our whole life. And we sell a whole bunch of things, so in pre-owned and new, clothes, shoes, media, not just video games anymore, though it's still your favourite. And I think we love the pre-owned aspect, so we're one of eBay's pre-loved partners, and we love the treasure hunt.
I got into selling because I've ridden and raced motorcycles my whole life, and in my early 20s, my dad asked me to get rid of the garage full of spare parts that I had there, and I was about to load everything up and take it to the tip, and then I saw this new thing called eBay, and I thought, oh, I'll try and get rid of some stuff, and I ended up making $6,000 out of stuff that I was going to take to the tip. So
There you go.
then I bought 2 motorbikes out of that money and pulled them apart and sold them in bits, and within a couple of years I was doing about 60 or 70k a month worth of sales, just doing the same thing, and that was much better than working for a boss.
I love that. Love those really inspiring stories. While I have you, Deo, can you tell us a little bit about what makes a great listing?
Okay, well, Kyle basically covered everything that we can talk about. There's a couple of things that I think need to be touched on, especially when it comes to the keyword construction of the titles. You need to be really aware of Vero strikes, like advertising a particular brand. If you're selling a phone case, for example, it needs to say for Apple iPhone. It can't just say Apple iPhone case, otherwise eBay will come around to your house and put you in jail. And also, further to what they were talking about with the images, I'm a big fan of clean images. I hate watermarks with a passion, especially because if you go into eBay and you look at the eBay listing quality reports, one of the tabs is Google Shopping, and it'll actually tell you which listings aren't being pushed through to Google by eBay and why. And if you systematically clean up your listings with that, you just watch your traffic skyrocket.
That's fantastic. Does anyone have anything to add on listings? I do know we covered a lot with Kyle's Prezzo.
With regards to Kyle covered everything, and another thing that keeps resonating with me each year on year, and I'm not sure if the stats are still the same, is that eBay is the biggest Google ad spender, which if you're neglecting the opportunity to be presented on a platform that's getting the biggest expenditure and putting messy images on it, it just makes absolutely no sense to me. But it's also utilising the simple tools like business policies, so your listings quicker and easier, so you can actually deploy strategies quicker for changes, and also making sure that your description's right. I'm in the collectibles field, so people are constantly grilling you about quality, condition, process, how do you manage your shipping, how do you do this, how do you do that. So you need to either have the facts set up, a detailed listing so it actually gives people the answers to mitigate that introversion, not wanting to speak to people, so you can actually bypass that communication aspect and only hit the sales challenges of will you accept this, will you do that, and the quick responses.
That's a really good point. I want to dive into that a little bit more, though. You said with your category, sometimes you'll get people, even if you have great things listed, asking you questions about the details of the item. Can you chat a little bit about that messaging and the back and forth and response times and any tips you have there?
How to handle customers.
Yeah, how do you talk to your buyers? How do you, when they send you a message, how quickly do you get back?
Who wants it? It's, again, Kyle's touched on the majority of the things that we're probably talking about in this section. And it actually comes to a lot of those questions that come up in the groups about the algorithm and Cassini and things like that. And on the previous iteration of the seller panel, we spoke to the Cassini guys, and Brad and I were talking about that last night. There's so many things that feed into it, and that communication component of expediting your responses, doing it when you see it, taking away the barrier to purchase, mitigating that objection of anybody that's going to receive to a buy. If they've got a buying signal of a message, doesn't matter what the message conveys or what they're asking or what they're doing, because every one of us in this room has a unique way of dealing with things, a unique way of asking things, responding to things, being angry, being pleasant, being nice, not smiling like me, all those sort of things. So don't ever judge the message. You don't know what's going on behind the keyboard. That message is a buying indicator regardless of what they're saying. So you expediting a response to that could actually remove any barriers for them to go off of your store and hit the person sitting next to you and buying the same product that they could replicate and get a hold of or similar, and you've just lost a sale because you were too cautious, apprehensive, uncertain, whatever the case may be, to actually respond to that message. And you could close the sale instantly. You could even just send an offer with a couple of percentage points off and get a sale as well. And if you are severely introverted and able to construct a sentence or how to word it or whatnot like that, ChatGPT.
Oh, there
Just spit your answer and go, hey, I've got a question from the customer. This is the question. I have an odd tone. I'm not sure what to write. I want to get a sale. Can you help me construct a response? And this is what I'm thinking about.
That's great. I actually was going to ask you guys about AI, so let's skip ahead. How are you guys using AI in your business? It sounds like maybe for some customer responses. Brad and Jess,
Talking to these people.
Do you have some examples?
Yeah, we use it in a wide range of uses. We use it for customer responses, even templating for our listings. But we've also started branching out into other areas. There's a great program that is sort of going to hit the market pretty soon, Shopfront. I don't know if Nate's here today or not, but they're really looking at utilizing AI to create listings for you. So we've been beta testing photographs into listings, so it would actually create a listing based off a photograph, fill out all the item specifics for you, and then you can push that live to your platform. So that's been pretty impressive to see that kind of build. We also use programs like Opus Clips videos and stuff like that. So I think AI is here to stay, and it's already inbuilt into a lot of eBay's processes. So it's been a pretty impressive journey, I think.
That's fantastic. Did you have something to add, Dave?
Yeah, when it comes to AI, I'm actually reading some Terminator fan fiction at the moment, so I'm not a fan of AI at all, but I have used it a little bit for, because I do a big amount of listings with all my clients. We're in the tens and hundreds of thousands of listings, and sometimes I'll have a description, and instead of having the same description from the supplier that every other reseller has, I'll put that description in ChatGPT and say, can you summarize this description and bring out 3 dot points? Because dot points look really nice in a description. And being able to do that at scale works really well. But I always like to sort of translate it back into human speak rather than AI speak. So I tend to use it as a bit of an assistant rather than like just being dogmatic with whatever ChatGPT spits out.
Cool. I love that. Speaking of assistants, we've been hearing a lot about virtual assistants recently. Do any of you have examples of using a virtual assistant? And could you talk us through the process?
Using a virtual assistant is probably the best thing that we've done in our business.
And what exactly is a virtual assistant? Can you
The
chat us through
virtual
that?
assistant is a real human being, not a Terminator assistant. But they're someone who's working remotely, usually a freelancer. I think for sellers, hiring can be a little bit daunting maybe. We're not all experts about hiring, but this is really accessible to go on to online places like Upwork, Airtasker, Fiverr, places like that where you can go on, you can see somebody's profile, search for what you want them doing. Our VA is actually creating listings at the moment, but you could outsource anything that you need that someone could do remotely. So type in what you're looking for, you're going to see profiles, you're going to see examples of their work, reviews of their work. And we got so lucky finding somebody on Upwork who could help us out really quickly without going through like a really daunting hiring process.
That's amazing. Is anyone in the room using virtual assistants? Can you raise your hand if you're using a virtual assistant? Okay, so there's a few. Possibly a cool opportunity. Thank you for sharing that. That's great.
No worries. I highly recommend finding someone who's a match, which makes it sound a little bit like business online dating, but we found a really great match.
That's fantastic. I'd love to talk about inventory management. Would you guys mind, maybe, Jazz, while we have you, could you tell us about the evolution of your inventory management over the years?
It has evolved so much because we started as hobby sellers and very casual and with small video games. We just didn't have an inventory system. We just thought, oh, we know where things are and when it sells, we'll just go and find it. Very, very, very quickly, that stopped working. We started losing items. It was taking us a long time. We were sending the wrong item. Maybe happened once or twice. So now what we've done is we use eBay's custom SKU section in the item specifics, and we put a location. So every time we photograph an item, it goes into storage straight away. We take a photo of where we're putting it. So we have a rack, and then we have sometimes a box, and we also have an item number. So we're bagging all of our items in reusable bags. And this way, it is such a breeze picking the orders because you're not wondering, oh, was it this one, that one? Do I need to check my photos? It's just item number 608 and never send out the wrong item again.
That's fantastic. Anyone else have inventory management strategies?
Motorcycle storage.
Yeah, I come from an inventory management background before I got into e-commerce, so I've always wanted the inventory management in synchrony with the eBay listings. And a lot of my clients, I have about 20 clients, and a lot of them are running hundreds of thousands of listings. So you need a really symbiotic inventory management system. And there's a lot of third-party tools that do that, because the last thing you ever want to do is alienate people. Further to what Kyle was saying, sending people refunds because you're out of stock and everything. So I've always been really pedantic with that. Third-party tools, if you're running data feeds from suppliers and whether they're drop shipping or you're ordering to fulfill the order, you just need to make sure you pick the right inventory management tools for that. And I honestly think inventory management is probably the most important part of the business by far. Like
Does your consultant cover that? Because I don't do inventory management.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Don't follow me, guys.
Yeah, so it's definitely the most important part of the business. But I just find keeping it as simple as possible, as Jazz said, like you can't be making a sale and then rummaging through everything or calling different suppliers to try and fulfill something you're out of stock of. That needs to be an integral part of the structure of your e-com business.
That's really helpful. Thank you. I would love to hear, Deo, some tools that you use, whether they're on eBay or off eBay, that really help with your business.
Yeah, well, I've been using the promoted priority listing tool a bit lately, but I like to use the tools that eBay have, but then sort of extract extra data from that and use it in other ways. So I use the promoted priority listing tool yes, it promotes your listings, which is really good, but the output of it is you get reports showing all the keywords that have brought up your search results. So what I've been doing for a few of my clients is then taking that report and putting it back into the software and actually adding extra keywords into listing titles. And we've found, as I've been going through systematically adding in titles, you can see the traffic, the listing impressions going up and up because you're putting in not just more keywords like the 65 characters minimum or up to 80 characters. You don't want to just pad it out with garbage like Kyle was saying. It has to be relevant, and being able to use the priority listings report, you're getting a bonus in traffic from the priority listings, but using that info and updating your listing titles as well as that, it's like a 1 + 1 = 3. It works in unison with each other, and it's bloody fantastic.
That's great. So the promoted priority listings report. That's a good one.
And also, as I mentioned earlier, the eBay listing quality report, that's awesome. eBay bombed it off a little while ago, and there was a lot of people who were really pissed off at eBay for getting rid of that report, but they've finally brought it back, and it's seriously, it's like if you're selling on eBay, that should be your oracle. That should be the one you always refer back to. That's when talking about the Google shopping thing, you know which listings aren't getting pushed through. You can see where you are in relevance compared to other sellers, which is a really important metric when you're trying to grow a business. And it just gives you so much detail. It's fantastic.
That's great. And does anyone use pricing tools, shipping tools, Terapeak?
Yeah, we actually picked up a shipping tool thanks to Jason and Janelle in the crowd. Last year we had a chat about how we could better utilize shipping tools to allow us to combine all of our orders into one place, because we have multiple eBay stores. Because we're in the pre-owned category, we want to kind of tailor that experience to our buyers. And we come across a few different tools that we use now. We're actually using Ready to Ship, but there's plenty of other platforms that do it, Starship it, ShipStation. And it just made our journey so much easier because we could have all that information in one platform. We could even set the size satchel that we wanted to use for all those sort of different types of items. So it just made our shipping process so much easier.
We're very similar. We use basic tools. So eBay's more of a hobby for me. It's not my main business. We use a shipping program as well, which is Starship it, purely price sensitive on that component. We use it in a freight business that we do as well. Just simplifies the whole process, pulls in orders across multiple stores, label generation's easy. Everything's in front of you, processing the order. It's not a plug for the program, but it's handy if you're doing volume of any way, especially if you're doing 6x4 shipping thermal labels. Rudimentary, we use spreadsheets as well. So we have a lot of stock that's just idle in the warehouse. It's actually literally not listed anywhere. And we'll need to know where that is, what it is, and how it's functioning. So we just use a very basic spreadsheet to know where it is if we want to do something with it. Or if the price escalates in some reason and we want to actually list it, we can actually find it on the spreadsheet, go pull it, and actually start listing the product as well.
Fantastic.
And also I use eBay a lot. eBay is the biggest tool for me in general. It's just crazy. Like I can jump onto USA and see how the market's performing in the USA. I can see the prices and be more specific on location. My products sell to America a lot. I can actually identify certain regions that are selling. I can just.
That's amazing.
To me, it's just the simplest process to use. Just going to the sold listings like everyone does. Spend a bit of time and take it from there. So it's pretty basic.
There's so much data out there. It's amazing. Very cool. What about, Jason, how have you used your community? I think that's been a really big theme for you, is all of these years meeting so many other sellers, the Facebook group. How have you used your community over the years to deal with different challenges that have come up with selling?
I love the question, but I hate answering the question. Our group has 10.8 thousand members, obviously not all active, but there's a high majority of active people. I actually don't like the word, how do I use the community?
How do you work with the community?
Yeah, because the community is so generous, and the people that get online are just, from an introvert's perspective, and I'm sorry for the overshare guys, I'm sort of pretty good at that, but they're just so generous. You have a question, they'll answer it, they'll be honest, they'll be straight to the point, they'll guide you in the right direction. If I hit a barrier, I can actually get online, not having an actual network of workers. Well, I've got a couple of people now. It's nice to be able to go somewhere refreshing, have a general chat, be concise, actually be business focused with regards to it as well, and actually get answers and bounce ideas off people or search a database to go through something. If you hit a hurdle, look guys, if you're not in the group, join the group. I'm not doing a plug, I don't get paid, it's no sponsorship, there's no monetary components to the Facebook group. Like these guys are all in it. I don't know where the Deo is.
I have no social media presence.
Get your phone out. So it's just a matter of having access to a different thought process. It's like I said before, use ChatGPT to get a different answer on something. You can actually go to a human, especially in the collectibles field and eBay. eBay is so diverse that AIs struggle with some of the concepts of the human component of it.
Sure.
So speaking to a real person's good. And these events, coming along and meeting some of the guys, it's like, you guys pulling me into the eBay seller panel, the original iteration was just mind-blowing to meet people like your Waynes, your Janelles, and all the guys in the room. Rachel, she's going to yell at me. There's just people in the room that are just so generous with their time. They're all introverts. The majority of people are introverts in the room. Who is an introvert? Hands up. Yeah, it's a relatively good response. Having that access to people in a network and a database and making friends.
Love that.
Yeah, sorry for being repetitive, guys, but it's just really awesome. You guys have brought me so far on my journey. It's insane.
It's awesome.
Further
Love
to what
working with you.
Jason said, I don't participate in the online communities, but the people I've met at these events over the years, there's so many different people in so many different verticals and so many different styles of business, from little startups to people that have done way more with e-commerce than I ever have, and bounce ideas off each other. And again, it's one of those ones like the listing, like the promoter priority listings, like 1 + 1 = 3. You ask someone for info and you bounce ideas back and forth, and it grows both your businesses. And it's a rising tide lifts all boats, and that's the best thing about things like this. There's so many people that I've met from here over the years that they're like either a shoulder to cry on or someone to bounce ideas off, and it's worth its weight in gold.
But to actually articulate it, it's really like the first thing I'd say to the room is, if you are an introvert and if you struggle to talk to people and you're here and you've made that step, there's people in this room that are in the same boat that you need to talk to, because the community is so generous with their behaviour. They're always talking about people that are hundreds of thousands of listings, they've been on the game for a long time, and they are the most generous people in this community that don't ever be afraid to reach out to somebody. Like if you're in person, especially. Like if we're here, come up and say g'day. If Keisha's here, come and say hello. If you see each other, say hello to each other. Introduce yourselves, find out what you do, see if there's a symbiotic relationship that you may be able to form some form of communication aspect to learn from. You never know where you're going to learn your next opportunity from and where you're going to learn your next business idea, your next process, your next refinement, your next whatever it is that's going to make you a better person for what you want to achieve.
That's really inspiring. I love that. Thank you for sharing your experiences. Brad and Jazz, can you share one big goal that you're working towards right now?
Our first big goal when we did get involved with the community and had people to soundboard off and realised that we could really make something of this was to be financially independent, which we have achieved now. And so I think the
Amazing.
next big goal is to try to optimise and streamline and automate what we're doing as much as we can so that we can be working on our business more than working in our business and get a bit of the lifestyle that we want.
That's fantastic. Really cool to hear how you went. I know you guys had jobs before and you were able to do this full time, and I think that that's the story of a lot of people in this room, and yeah, I just think that's really incredible.
We never, ever, ever expected that we would be able to do that. It was just such a pleasant surprise, and I'm so glad that we did interact with all of the other people around us and look abroad and see what was possible, because it's been amazing.
That's fantastic. So we're just coming up to the end of our session, so I want to ask one last question to everyone. What has been the proudest moment of your journey so far? Jason, do you want to start us off? Dea?
It's a small one compared to, because most of my clients are big, like hundreds of thousands of listings, but speaking to the gamers and that sort of stuff out there, I'm not into gaming, but I actually purchased a long time ago, as a bit of a whim, I bought some Nintendo Entertainment System cartridges, and I bought Link, The Adventures of Zelda, the gold cartridge in the box for $1, and I sold it recently for $770.
Wow.
So that was awesome. That was a pretty cool thing. It's completely different to anything I normally sell, and I'm not into gaming at all, but I was pretty stoked on that win.
I missed out on that one.
What about you guys?
I think I have to go back again to just realising that we could be self-reliant is, something that we didn't even think to dream of.
Yeah, I think for us, we were both working full time, and it just started as a really small hobby in our 2-bedroom apartment at the time, and quickly we outgrew it. So the ability for us to scale and get to the point where we now have staff working for us has just been our biggest achievement so far.
Sorry, I didn't mean to bypass the question.
Okay.
I've actually got two things that I'm quite proud of. I'm an old fella, so being capable and able to work in an industry I enjoy. I love collectibles. It's just something I've always been interested in, had an actual genuine interest, which is why I started selling, because I actually like the product. So I love what I do and I love the product I do. But more importantly, it is the community and the journey they've given me over the last 3 years.
Oh, thank you so much, Jason. It's really beautiful. I hope everyone was able to take something away from this. I know I learned a lot, and I think there's probably a lot more that we can pick these guys' brains on. So we have a networking session after the Google session that's next. So please find us, have those conversations Jason was talking about, make those connections, keep in touch after this. It is really amazing to see what you do when you come together and really build on each other's ideas and improvements with your business. So thank you so much. It was really great hearing from you all. Really appreciate your time, and we hope you enjoy the rest of Retail Fest. Thanks.
And thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. No, you're so fine. Thank you so much. Here, I'll turn this off.
Okay, great. Oh, and we're on. Hi, I'm Taos. I work in the advertising team, and I'm here to talk to you about our ads that we have on site. So I understand that we probably have a range of different sellers here today, some who have maybe never used advertising before, some who have maybe used it in the past or haven't used some of the more recent tools, and some of our more seasoned veterans who have been using it for a while. From the exercise Marie did at the beginning, I think there's a lot in that third camp, but hopefully I can provide information for everybody here today. So today I'm going to go through some of our different advertising tools, make sure that everyone is aware of the different tools that we have and how they work. Then I'm going to go through some changes that we've made to the advertising dashboard and experience to make things simplified and easier to use. And then thirdly, I'm going to talk on some product launches that are happening in Australia later this year. Now, I know that some of you might have seen some communication that came out earlier this week around our promoted listings general tool and some changes to the attribution logic for that tool. I just wanted to say I'm speaking for 10 minutes today, so I won't be covering the details of that, but we are running a detailed lunch and learn with the ads team tomorrow at 1 p.m. And myself and my colleague Joel and Damon, who are here somewhere, we're here for the whole conference. You can come and talk to us at any stage after this or at the booth. I'm happy to talk through any of your questions, and at the lunch and learn, the aim there is that you can come sit down with us one-on-one and we'll go through your campaigns and optimizations with you. So hopefully a bit more of a detailed response than what I can cover up here today. Here we go. I wanted to start with some of the top tips that I wanted to get out of the next 10 minutes. Firstly is to use the recommendations and trends that we have available in the advertising platform to make sure that things are easier and more efficient for you. The second tip is to use promoted offsite if you aren't already, and I'll go into detail about what that tool is. And thirdly, it's to build your brand and recognition and trust on eBay through promoted stores. So, for those who aren't familiar, I just wanted to touch on the eBay toolkit and the 4 different tools that we have on offer. So, firstly, we have promoted listings with a general strategy or a priority strategy. We've got promoted stores and promoted offsite. I thought for a bit of a light-hearted way to kind of take you through and show you how I'd use these different tools, I'd give you a bit of an example. So let's say that I am Taos's hair care and I am wanting to sell this Dyson hairdryer. What are my options? How am I going to use these 4 different tools, and what's that going to look like? So first off, There we go. First off, I have a promoted listings with a general strategy. Now, the aim of what I'm going to use that for is to gain exposure for my listings. Promoted listings general appears in over 130 different placements around the site. And the aim is really to get, increased frequency of views and additional exposure for those items. It's really good to be used for new listings that you want to, that you're bringing onto the platform, or listings that maybe haven't had engagement in the last 30 to 60 days and need a boost. And I just want to add, we heard a lot from Kyle about listing optimization earlier today, and this is, those are sort of the basics that need to be done to make sure that you have successful listings, and this is, incremental to that. So it's not sort of a one or the other. You need to make sure that you've kind of covered all those bases that Kyle mentioned earlier today as well. So I'm going to promote my hairdryer through promoted listings with a general strategy to ensure that I get as much exposure and frequency as possible. Now, the way that tool is going to work is that you're going to set an ad rate per listing, and you'll be charged that ad rate once your campaign is engaged with and once an item is sold within an active campaign. So secondly, my option, if my focus is less about exposure and more about performance, is to run a priority campaign. I'm going to put my hairdryer in this campaign, and what you can see is that that's going to have really a big impact in terms of conversion, as it has access to the most premium placements on site. So it's going to feature in, the top slots within search, as well as all slot 1 within all kind of different promoted listing merchandising strips. So the example that I have up on screen here is on a view item page of a similar item, and you can see I'm featuring my product and it's in the top slot of that placement. The way that this tool works is that it's a CPC base. So you're going to set your CPC rate based on the keywords that you have within that campaign, and you'll pay for conversion. So the aim there is really to provide, to add your top converting items within that campaign. And I love that one of our panelists mentioned the PLP report. So you can download that within your advertising tab, have a look at your top converting keywords and top converting items, and optimize your campaigns that way. Next, we've got promoted stores and promoted offsite. So to continue my example, I'd be using promoted stores not just to showcase one singular item, but to showcase the range of inventory that I have within my store, right? So I've got my hair straightener, my hairbrush, hair curlers, not just one item. And as you can see there, it's got my store logo. I'm able to kind of feature the breadth of inventory that I have. And it's, a great way to gain credibility and trust on the platform, as well as brand awareness. These placements are going to feature within top of search, homepage, and the view item page of competitive listings. And it's going to drive the customer through to your eBay store. I'd like to also flag that you can sync these placements with coded coupons. So if you're running a coded coupon on your store, you could run a promoted stores campaign, and the coupon information is going to come through to the advertising banners as well. So really kind of a great tip leading into end of financial year if you're running any discounts on your store. And as of launched today, these promoted stores placements will be feature the coupon activity across the site and all the different promoted stores placements. And then lastly, I've got promoted offsite. So that's going to push my listings through to Google Shopping. That's the main tool that I want to talk to you about today. We've heard a lot of conversations. We've got Google after this. It's been talked about in Kyle's session and on the panel. So I will go through details of how to use that tool and make sure that everyone's aware of how it works. I've got more detail here on each tool, but I think we've got a lot more resources at the Lunch and Learn tomorrow. Feel free to take a photo, but we will have kind of flyers, handouts with detailed information about each one. It's a bit much for now. So now that you know your 4 different tools that you have on site, just want to make sure everyone knows where to set them up, where to find the information that you need. And we've made some changes recently over the past year to kind of make that simplified and easier to use for everyone. So within your Seller Hub, you've got the advertising tab there, and we've created a comprehensive, simplified view of all of the reporting and all of your campaign information to make sure that that is visible, easy to use in one place. Now, hands up, who here is time poor? and wishes there were more hours in the day? Yes, me too. Working at eBay and running Taus's hair care is hard work. And so we have made improvements over the past year to make things simplified and more efficient for you so that running an advertising campaign is even easier than it was before. So we can do that through providing recommendations within your advertising tab, trend-based campaigns that are suggested for you, suggested campaigns that are ready to launch within one click, and detailed advertising insights to make sure that you can improve your advertising campaigns. I'll take you through a few of these in more detail. So this is an example of what the recommendations would look like in your advertising hub, right? So it's going to provide, based on a particular goal, the example I have here is improving ad visibility. It's going to provide the keywords that are needed to improve that ad visibility. It'll showcase those to you. You've got some choices. Either you could just click apply, and those recommendations that are using, eBay's data and AI to provide kind of best recommendations for you will either be automatically applied, or if you want, you can kind of go through them in exactly more detail and tailor those keywords as you'd like. So we've, based on the different goals you have, we have recommendations that are provided for each one of those goals. They're really easy to see within your advertising tab and easy to kind of apply. So that was sort of my top tip, in that if you want to save some time, make sure that you're optimizing your campaigns as much as possible. This is the easiest way to do that. And then secondly, we have trend-based campaigns. So the way that works is that's looking at buyer behavior to identify trends and seasonality. So based on the trends that we're seeing on site, we're then going to look at the listings that are in your store, and it's going to create a suggested PLP campaign for you based on what we're seeing in market. And seasonality. So a really great way to kind of make sure that you're making the most of, the information that we have at eBay in terms of what we're seeing buyers' behavior be on site. Leading up to end of financial year, for example, is a great time to go in and have a look at any of those trend-based campaigns that we're suggesting. An example I like to use is when Marie Kondo launched her tidying up show on Netflix, for example, a little while ago. We saw a huge influx of people wanting to buy their containers and organizing items, etc. So just an example of sort of a trend that we can see on site. But yes, leading up to end of financial year, have a look. It'll select the listings that we're seeing particular trends for, and just with one click you can set that live. So to discuss in more detail promoted offsite, just to make sure that kind of everyone's familiar with that tool before hearing from Google after this. So as I said, Google Offsite is going to push your store listings through to Google Shopping. We're seeing that sellers are seeing a 25% increase in sales from using these external channels. So it's a really powerful tool. We're seeing really strong results from that at the moment. And it's the best way to attract new buyers, gain incremental revenue, and make the most of sort of what you're able to put on site. So we heard from earlier in the Q&A session that we're talking about how, and the panel as well, about how eBay is one of the biggest spenders on Google Shopping. And that is true. We do spend a lot in marketing to push your listings through to Google. And I'd like to emphasize that running a promoted offsite is incremental to that, right? So you can kind of see that within your seller hub. You can see where your traffic is coming from. And then running one of these campaigns is in addition to that. It's really easy to set one of these campaigns up. You can select the date range and the daily budget that you wish to use for that period of time. One thing I would like to emphasize is that patience is key, as these campaigns sort of have what they call a learning period. So if you're sort of starting it and stopping it, again, you won't see the results that you want. I'd recommend giving it at least 2 months to sort of run this campaign, wait and see. Within that 2-month period, you can change the daily budget, so you do have control there, but just wait and see. It's sort of a bit more of a long-term commitment. But as I said, this is something that, we're putting a lot of budget and emphasis into. We've got a great partnership with Google, and because of that, there are lots of changes and improvements that are coming to this tool in the future as well. So Google and eBay are providing a best-in-class partnership to be able to provide as much benefit from these tools as possible with some really cool features. So for example, one of the things that we're working on, we discussed listing optimizations and title optimizations before, is using AI to look at the listings that you're pushing through to Google. Google are sharing their data in terms of what they're seeing that their users best resonate with from a product image perspective, from a listing title perspective, and we will automatically optimize that for you before your listings go through to Google Shopping. So we're kind of taking that load off for you, and we're able to kind of use our tools and data to do that on your behalf to ensure that your listings are going to perform as well as possible. Other examples there is that we're going to optimize the tool to make it to allow sellers to have a bit more bespoke control over these campaigns. So currently it's your entire store-wide listings that gets pushed through to Google, but in the future you'll be able to select the exact listings that you want to push through instead of being able to promote all of them, for example. So it's really exciting, the improvements that are going to come from this. There's also going to be, an expansion in terms of the offering that this tool provides, and Google are going to touch on this later, but the plan is to have even more visibility from this tool and these placements in Google Shopping than you do now. So it's definitely kind of an up-and-coming tool that we're putting even more effort and product work towards, and it's my top tip number 2 in terms of making sure that you're able to get that incremental traffic. So what's to come? We've got a couple of things that have launched in the US that are launching in Australia soon. First of those is video ads, for example. So we're using AI to use your product images to generate social media videos for you to be able to share on your platforms and direct traffic through to your store. I did have an example, which hopefully will play. But as you can see there, if you don't have the ability to create social videos, we're doing it for you on your behalf by creating these little clips. There's different options you can choose from to be able to use within your own marketing activity as well. So just an example of what's to come. Oh, sorry. Great. Oh, back, sorry. Great. And then the second kind of launch that is coming later this year is to our seller guidance. So that was sort of what I mentioned earlier about the recommendations, the suggested campaigns. We're making some really cool improvements to that. I know everyone's using the word AI, but I'll mention it one last time. But in terms of using the data that we have to provide really bespoke recommendations for you. So I'm really excited about the changes that are coming here. The way that's going to look is you're able to input your seller goals, what you want to achieve out of your advertising, the benchmarks that you want to achieve, what your different goals are, and it's going to spit out bespoke recommendations for you in terms of which campaigns to run, how to optimize them, and what we recommend. So it definitely sounds like it's taking my job, but it will be a great tool, and it's great that all sellers will have access to be able to get more of those bespoke recommendations as well. So a couple of things to kind of keep an eye out for in terms of features that are coming up. But as I said, 3 things that I would take away to set up today if you aren't already using our recommendations, having a look at those, having a look at the trends that are coming up for end of financial year, setting up promoted offsite and making sure that you're kind of getting that incremental boost in addition to already the offsite marketing that eBay is providing for you, and gaining brand awareness and credibility on site through promoted stores. Thank you so much for your time today. As I said, this was just a little bit of an intro to advertising, but tomorrow we have a lunch and learn at 1 o'clock, or Joel and I are around for any of the questions you might have. Really happy to sit down and talk about different campaigns or optimizing questions. That's what we're here for. So hopefully get to speak to many of you soon. Thank you very much.
Good morning. Thanks for having me here today. It's always nice to be on the sunny Gold Coast. I'm really looking forward to talking to you today about the future of search, and then also sharing some details on feed optimization. Before we kick off, let me introduce myself. My name is Mitch. I'm an industry manager at Google Australia, and in this role, I work with Australia's largest e-commerce providers. And my responsibility is really to make sure they're getting the best results out of their advertising with Google. And Paul is also in the room, and he'll join me shortly. Okay, so what are we going to cover today? We're going to share some insights on consumer behaviour and how this is shaping the future of search and our shopping products. We'll share some details on one of our leading AI-powered ad products, and then we'll provide some practical tips to improve your feed and in turn your results across Google. And then finally, we're going to leave you with some resources to continue expanding your AI knowledge if you so wish. Okay, so let's jump into it. The world feels disrupted. What a headline. But it is true, and things are changing fast, and this is showing up in a few ways. Firstly, the way we live. We've heard a lot about AI today, and again, whether we know it or not, it is changing the way that we live, the way we engage. So remember turning into a game or an event, like the State of Origin tonight. Today, that's just a snapshot in time, and the real engagement happens before or after the event itself. And then the way that we buy, it used to be as simple as cash, credit, or check. Today, more and more shoppers are turning to alternative buying methods like social commerce to make that process easier. And this disruption has also impacted the shopper journey. Searches are getting longer and more complex. At Google, we see longer search queries are growing 1.5 times faster than short queries. Not only are the queries longer, there are more and more touch points across that journey. The average touch points in that shopper journey is now over 10. And the result is an unpredictable shopper journey across many touch points and platforms with no two journeys alike. However, despite all of these touch points, we actually think that shopper behavior is increasingly predictable. We see shoppers either searching, scrolling, or streaming, and they're shopping across all these behaviors at any time. Successful retailers will effectively engage across all these behaviors to deliver short and long-term performance, no matter how complicated the shopper journey is. Paul will shortly provide details on a Google product that allows you to do this today. Now, I want to double-click into search for a moment because the future of search is here, and I get a lot of questions about what is happening in this space. We see that AI is unleashing the full potential for Google search, unlocking new ways to search, including the types of questions we ask, how we ask them, and then the answers that Google provides. Let's take a look at how this is coming to life. Love sharing that hype video with my customers. Now, let me give you a quick overview of some of the features included in that video. First up, AI overviews. So this is one of the biggest improvements we've made to search in the last 20 years. AI overviews is made possible by a new Gemini model custom built for search. The overviews appear in Google search results when the system determines that generative AI can be especially helpful, such as when a user wants information from a range of sources, or they have a long, complicated question, like here, why does my candle burn unevenly? We see that users that are engaging with AI overviews are satisfied with the answers and searching more. This is rolled out in Australia, so you'd see that functionality here today. Another feature within AI overviews is ads within AI overviews. The longer, more specific queries we see in AI overviews gives us even stronger intent to match with relevant businesses, and that helps us drive in more engaged and qualified traffic. In this example, you can see product listing ads being seamlessly included when the user is looking for information on how to remove grass stains. In the US, we see people finding ads directly within AI overviews helpful because they can quickly connect with relevant businesses, products, and get that information and take the next step. It's not yet available in Australia, but keep an eye on our blog, The Keyword, for more information. And then finally, my favourite feature within Google Lens, my favourite feature in the video is Google Lens, which allows you to search what you see. We've all been there. You see a product you like or something you need, but you can't describe it. Lens allows you to take a photo of that image, and the search is purely on the image. So there's no keywords required. Because of this functionality, Lens is used for over 20 billion visual searches every month, and it's one of the fastest growing search types on Google. Circle to search is another really cool functionality within Lens. With this, we see users, especially younger users, taking screenshots from social or the web, uploading them to Lens, and then within Lens, you can search, tap, or highlight the product to get more information. And this is all done without switching apps. This, again, is just creating more opportunities to get ads and your products in front of users in the way that they shop and how they're viewing your content. Another important call out here is it's not just a cool discovery tool. We see that 1 in 4 Lens queries has commercial intent. And this is just a quick example I did the other day. I was in preparing for this presentation, and I was sitting at my desk, and my colleague had quite a funky pair of suede New Balance shoes. I thought I could do with a pair of those, but how the heck am I going to describe those into Google search? So you can see here within Lens, it's able to very quickly identify the product. There's a range of places I can buy that funky blue suede sneaker. But then on reflection, it's probably not the best color for me. So you can see here, I've been able to append the color red to that image query. And very quickly, Google Lens is able to identify that exact product in Lens. And you can see here that it happens to be available via an eBay seller, I think, in Germany. But again, just thinking about that as a consumer, we're able to really shorten that process and make it easier and easier to identify and find the product that you're after. Now, because of all that innovation and adaptation in consumer behavior, things like longer queries, follow-up questions, search with an image, circle to search, we see over 5 trillion searches on Google every year, and 15% of those searches are actually new every day, so we've never seen them before. And this has now been true for more than a decade, and we expect that to continue. For advertisers, this has the potential to be overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be. So next, we want to spend some time sharing tips that will allow you, in partnership with eBay, to maximize your results across Google by meeting consumers where they are in the way they shop. And I'll pass over to my colleague, the esteemed Paul.
All right, thank you, Mitch, and thank you everyone for sticking with us. It's always tough being the final speaker in a presentation, so thanks again. So before I start talking to you today about the shopping feed, which is going to be really important for all of you, I want to start with talking about Performance Max. So PMax is Google's latest and greatest in AI-powered technology to improve the performance of your business. And you may or may not have heard Google talk about PMax before, and for those of you that have, the reason we keep bringing it up is because it works. And Mitch and I have worked with a lot of brands in the past to help them see the benefits of this product. And through PMax, you can reach consumers wherever they are along their increasingly complex and tangled purchase journey. Spend less time fine-tuning audience targeting as Google's AI will go out and find the most valuable audiences for you. Optimize towards the highest value opportunities in real time, and give you access to new controls, insights, and reporting, which are continuously being built upon based on the feedback of its users. And then exciting news through the Promoted Offsite product, which some of you use and probably heard about today. PMax is coming to Promoted Offsite, allowing all of you to take advantage of the latest in Google's ad technology. So moving on to shopping feeds. The shopping feed is the backbone of shopping activity across Google, and it's one of the most important factors for delivering sales for your business. The feed powers ads across the entire Google network, and when I talk about the Google network, I'm referring to Shopping, Gmail, YouTube, Discover, Display, and Maps. And PMax will allow you to reach users across all of these different surfaces. So taking a step back, I'll explain how your product listings on eBay end up as an ad on Google. So starting at step 1, you collect all of your product data, which you then upload to eBay for users to view and purchase on site. At that point, the product data is collected and transferred into the Google Merchant Center platform. That Google Merchant Center platform is connected to the Google Ads platform, which is where the ads are created and the shopping ads come from. So the data that you upload into the eBay site is directly used to power those ads across Google. And at Google, we often talk about feed health, which basically means how good is your shopping feed. And the two things I'll spend a bit more time talking about today are policy enforcement, so how policy mismatch can prevent your content from being shown across Google, and optimizing product data, which we've also heard about today. So how you can give your products the best chance to appear in front of a customer. And starting with policy, Google's policies are not just in place to be a thorn in the side of advertisers. They are built so that all Google's users might have the best experience possible while spending time across the platform. Policies are in place to prevent bad content, be that unlawful use of trademarks or low-value shopping content, and what low-value means I'll sort of talk a bit more about as we go through. Also, making sure that users get access to high-quality results by verifying that for-sale products are what they say they are, in stock and for the price listed, all with the intention of building trust and reliability across Google Shopping for all its users. So from the point that the product data enters the Google ecosystem, we start checking to make sure that the ads are high quality. And these checks are done by both AI and human intervention and might look something like this. So I upload my latest batch of products, which is 100 different shades of blue lipstick. 10 of them have low resolution images that get disapproved. 10 of them have the wrong price because I forgot to change the promotional detail. And 10 are out of stock because they're just that popular. So now I have 70 products that are eligible to turn into ads across Google and a 30% disapproval rate. So providing the correct product identifiers are important pieces of product data, and the exclusion of these is a common reason for disapproval and negative ad performance. So the three main identifiers are brand, universal product code, and manufacturer part number. And within the shopping feed, there's a range of other things that are important as well, such as price, image link, and condition. But you really need these three main ones, especially brand and UPC, to get the ball rolling. And passing through the correct UPC can lead to an increase in clicks of 200% of feeds that do pass this through over feeds that don't pass this through. So just by having the right data in the system, you can increase traffic to your products. Also important to note that having incorrect or duplicate identifiers is actually worse than having none at all. So missing data is actually better than incorrect data. And this is because the system trains on the data that we give it. So if we give it the wrong data, it's going to have a negative impact. Now, disapprovals due to challenges with images is one of the biggest, if not the biggest reason for ad disapprovals on Google for sellers across eBay. And Google's policy for image disapprovals is quite clear and include things like any image that has text overlay or promotional overlay or imagery, images that are not static, so trying to use a video or a GIF in place of an image, or low resolution or stretched and squished images like this shoe up the top here. And we've talked about images a bit today already, and this actually won't be the last time I talk about images today as well, so we'll hear more about this shortly. Moving on to tips and tricks on how to optimize your data. I'll start with an explainer of what's important for the Google system. All Google ads run on an auction between advertisers, and shopping ads and PMAX are no different. So who wins an auction and serves in which position is based on three things. Offer quality, and by offer here, I mean the product data, so the quality of that product data is really important. How much a brand is willing to bid and pay to appear within that auction, and how relevant your ad content and website is to the user searching online. And you don't need to understand all of this in detail, but the key takeaway here is improving the quality of your offers and products will drive better performance for your business. Now, within the bucket of improving offer quality, assuming product identifiers are now in place, you should be thinking about images, titles, and descriptions. These are the big three things that customers of your products will see, and is how you're going to influence them to buy from you. In this example, the image is clear, the title states what the product is, and the description starts to provide additional detail which is both interesting and useful. A good example of a shopping ad. So the product title is very important for ads because it is highly visible to users, being one of the first things that they see as they're browsing through content. It is also heavily weighted within Google's auction, so having a good quality title can drive up relevance, which can decrease the amount you need to pay to appear in higher positions. And some best practices for writing good quality titles are avoid being vague. Make it easy for buyers to find and understand what you're selling. You have 150 characters available here across Google, so make sure you include information that is relevant. Think about which attributes are important for products within your category: shoe size, couch color, rug shape, all of these things, and try to front load the most important parts. You can see in these examples that longer titles can be truncated or shortened, so be aware of what your ad might look like if your titles are very long. Now, as Mitch talked about earlier, search terms are getting longer on average, but also getting more specific. Being aware of how users behave online and mirroring this content is how you build relevance with those customers. So beginner surfboard, Noosa board, redback Noosa 7x50, Noosa board wood designed with blue pattern, all increasingly specific search terms, which is a behavior that is becoming more and more common across the web. Now, there are a lot of sellers in this room that sell within different categories, so tailoring your product titles to your category is another really important way to drive relevance. An example of a good structure that we have here across Google is brand plus product type plus attributes, similar to the structure that Kyle talked about earlier. So think about things like hardcover or ebook for books, occasion for your seasonal products, Mother's Day, Valentine's Day, or gender or size for apparel. And now a lot of the same best practices for titles apply across descriptions as well. Here you have a much higher volume of characters available to you, so this is where you can really drive home that additional detail which you couldn't include in the titles. So similarly, be specific and accurate. Include your most important attributes up front, and think about which product details are going to be important to your users and make sure they're included. Now let's say you sit down for your morning tea and coffee and you have a burst of inspiration to write new titles and descriptions, but you don't know where to start. Think about using Google Trends. Using this free online tool, you can analyze volume and trends for searches related to your products, find searches related to those searches, as well as look out for what's trending and what's popular at the moment. Now, again, coming back to images, this is a great visual representation of do's and don'ts for imagery. Not only will adopting these best practices improve your ad quality, it will ensure that you don't run into policy challenges as you go. So if you're selling a bundle, show the whole bundle. Make sure your images are the highest resolution possible, and at Google we recommend 1500 by 1500 pixels. Make the product the focus of the image, so we heard earlier about the importance of a clean background. Make the product that focus and avoid too much background clutter or staging, and show the entirety of the product without too much cropping. And try not to misrepresent what you're selling. If you're selling one clock radio, don't advertise 3. Don't use placeholders or generic imagery. This is generally a negative experience for customers online, and it won't pass through Google's policies. Similar to promotional overlays or text, which we've talked about here and is another example here. And avoid using borders around images as well. So now we've covered a few different ways to improve the health of your product, and it can be hard to prioritize where you might want to focus your efforts. And this table should be a good starting point, so feel free to take a quick photo of this if that's helpful to you. Otherwise, these slides will be available later on. And these things are all important, but product titles, UPC, image, and descriptions are where I'd personally start before moving on to other attributes of the feed to improve as well. And I'll pass back to Mitch to wrap us up.
Thanks, Paul. Yeah, just to quickly summarize, up front, I shared details on the consumer journey and how we think this can essentially be categorized into 3 main behaviors: searching, scrolling, streaming, and then users are shopping across all these 3 at any point in time. In terms of how you can be present across this behavior, Performance Max is the solution to get in front of your customers at the right time across a Google ecosystem. And again, this is all powered by Google AI. And finally, Paul shared details on how you can improve your feed health. It's important to remember your feed will be the foundation for performance in the AI era. One last thing to leave you with today. If you'd like to keep up to speed with Google products, AI, and consumer trends, I'd highly recommend checking out some of our courses and resources available at Google Skillshop, Google Trends, and I Think with Google website. Finally, yeah, thanks for your time today. Good luck with everything. We think it's a really exciting time for our industry. We recognise there's a lot of change, but partners like eBay and ourselves are here to guide you through that. Paul and I will be around for the bites afterwards, so please feel free to come up and ask us any questions, and we'll try to answer those as best as we can. Thank you.